Hello. Welcome, everyone. It's your boy, MrDegenerate, here, back at it again for another video, and holy shit, it is that time. You know, once you make a top 10 best movies, you gotta make the worst movie category, and holy shit, I am not looking forward to doing this, because ultimately, as someone who did documentaries in college, I understand, or at least I got an understanding of what it's like making a film and how hard that shit can be. So when I come hard on these films, it's not because of I don't understand where it's coming from. I completely understand where it's coming from. However, I always say things could be better, be improved. Things can be better executed well. And these movies are no exceptions. These movies I'm going to talk about are just going to be my top 5. So we're not going to spend so long. And also, these movies fucking destroyed me. I was like, ugh. Like, I just need to talk about these movies. So without further ado, here's my top 5 worst movies of the year. And again, the rules are it has to be a movie that came out this year, and it cannot be a straight to DVD movie. It has to be a streaming or a theater movie. So let us begin. I think my first movie I will give to number 5 will be a fighting game that came out this year. That had a movie adaptation, in particular, Mortal Kombat, the movie. This movie had all the potentials to be great. This movie looked good, and I would say some of the actors was really spot on. That being said, this movie runs into the video game curse, which is they think just because you have nostalgia or you have characters do a particular move from the video game, that is an automatic win. There is more to it than that, and I just think this movie has a bad script. I think the simple fact that none of the characters actually fight in the tournament and it's like a prequel to the tournament is trash. I fucking can't stand Cole as a character. I don't know why he's in this movie. He's a waste of a slot. He's a waste of a skin, and his powers make no fucking sense. It doesn't even tie into him as his personality of being an MMA fighter. With everybody's powers, they tie to them in some way. This shit did not tie into it anyway. So I didn't fucking get it. This movie wasn't it, Chief. And I would also say the action wasn't all that great. I really wish Hollywood would stop doing this shaky cam, cut shit so much, and actually just like show the characters actually fight. This is Mortal Kombat. This is a fucking martial arts movie. Show me the combat. I just didn't feel that certain missed opportunities, like Katana's fan is there, but we never get mentions of Katana. Melina's there in the movie, but Melina gets wiped out and doesn't even mention Katana. Just a bunch of fucking stupid shit. Like, just a waste. And this movie should have been an easy win. Mortal Kombat is not that hard to adapt. I'm tired of people fucking this shit up. And I just could not care for this movie. The only positive I'll give to this movie is that certain characters acted like certain characters. Like, it was cool to see Kung Lao and Liu Kang be kind of the mentors. It was cool to see Raiden be like this dick to everybody. But other than that, I couldn't tell half of the cast what the fuck they were doing. This movie was just batshit whack. And I think a lot of people fall for this movie because, well, it's Mortal Kombat and it has the look and the characters are doing the special moves from the video games, so it's cool. But it is what it is. And I think the standout performance is the guy who plays Kano. I think Kano was the best part of the movie, and he deserves all the praise. That being said, the rest of this movie is shit. On the Silver Light, and the reason why it's so low on the list is because I do believe you can course correct some of this shit. I personally don't think you can course correct some of the lore changes they made, but whatever. But ultimately, this movie was not it. I couldn't stand it. It is what it is, though. So number 4, I'm gonna give it to Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Oh, fucking, what is with fucking Capcom keep giving Hollywood the rights to make these fucking Resident Evil live action movies? If Paul Anderson couldn't get this shit right, what the fuck made you think another director was gonna get this shit right? I'll give this director props. At least he got the atmosphere of Resident Evil. Because I will not lie, this atmosphere felt pretty good. However, this movie commits the biggest sins I've ever seen in a fucking Resident Evil movie or even a video game movie. Combining 2 fucking stories in one. That is always, I don't care what you are, always going to be a big disaster. You want to know why? Because in Resident Evil, both of those, Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2, both of those events takes place at different time points. So why the fuck would you think you can combine 2 of them and make sure that they get the same amount of treatment? I hope you played the fucking video games, because you won't know what the fuck is a T virus, you won't know what the fuck is a G virus. They don't go into explanation of what's the difference is. Characters are completely out of nowhere near the games. At least with Mortal Kombat, at least characters acted like they're, for the most part, acted like their fucking video game counterpart. Nobody in this movie acts like their video game counterpart. Wesker's a fucking joke. Jill's fine. Chris is fine. Claire is boss ass babe. Leon's a fucking joke. They ruined Leon. And it's not even because his ethnicity is different. Because at least the actor looks like a pretty boy. This motherfucker, they ruined Leon. Leon is a jokes character. He's the butt of a joke. They have Lisa Trevor in this movie, and she's walking around this fucking abandoned abandoned orphanage, and it makes no sense. There's no tyrant characters. What is this? And my biggest complaint is that they combine 2 of the Resident Evil core stories in one, so neither one of those stories get time to really be fleshed out. The mansion doesn't get time to really get developed and see what happens throughout the whole entire mansion. The raccoon incident, you don't get to really get a sense of what happens, since the environment is so low, because it's not a city, it's like a urban neighborhood. Since it is kind of like so low, they don't do a lot with that, because the movie has to shift back into Resident Evil 1, so we gotta go back to the mansion, we gotta focus on the mansion, things with the mansion's getting interesting, we gotta go back to the city. It's too much. I don't understand why the fuck we just can't focus on one story, and in the sequel we will do the other one. I do not get why fucking filmmakers do this shit. I do not understand it. And it ruined this movie. And it's funny because the atmosphere in this movie is great. There's one scene where Chris is fighting like these zombies in the middle in the mansion, and the light is off and you can't see shit. And it creates this like really tense moment because you can hear the zombies but you can see them. So it was cool, but that's beside it. Everything else about this movie is a joke, and it only relies on fan service. Fan service galore. Fan service galore. There are fan service just the sake of fan service, and it's like, my guys, am I this dumb? Do you guys think that's gonna work on me? I don't know. Maybe other Resident Evil fans will get a kick out of this movie. I just thought this was a fucking joke. This movie is a joke. Stop making these shits. All I gotta say on this Resident Evil. And for number 3, I'm just gonna put this movie out here. Space Jam 2. Listen, if you're gonna rely on nostalgia and IPs to save your movie, maybe you shouldn't make it. Just saying. If this movie is not interesting in the slightest, even the movie, even at the very beginning, even kind of tells you the premise of what they're gonna do is that they're just gonna travel to the different properties from Warner Brothers, and that's it. Not even make fun of them, not even comment how like silly and ridiculous this world is, or how silly and ridiculous this shit is. That is it. It's fucking lame. This movie is fucking lame. Like, everything about it is lame. It does nothing interesting. It does nothing cool. And I don't even blame LeBron. I can't even blame LeBron because LeBron can't act. But he secured the bag, so that's all that matters. LeBron secured the bag, and that's all that matters. Same thing with Zendaya. Zendaya, boo boo, I love you. I know you can act. I seen you act, but you was sleepwalking with this shit. You was like, yo, give me the bag. Give me the bag, motherfucker. Give me the bag. I'll just come in a day and just do some voice acting, and then that's it. The rest of this movie is nonsense. And I feel bad for kids because you watch this nonsense, and all it was just reference the movie. Oh, we have Rick and Morty. Oh, Rick and Morty fans are gonna get excited. Oh, we have Godzilla. Oh, we have all these references, but the movie never goes out of its way to address or even make fun of or even do something clever with the thing. It's just thrown together, just piss poorly, bro. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't know. Like, it just wasn't a movie for me. I admit it probably wasn't a movie for me, but we could do so much better. We can do so much better with this shit. Like, so much greatness, so much potential of this movie, and we just like kind of just doing boring shit. Only positive I'll give to this movie is that they do a good job of making LeBron look like an asshole or an asshole father. So I guess that's that. Other than that, this movie's a dud. Okay, for number 2, there's just some franchises that don't need to come back. And when I explain this next one, I'm gonna kind of have to brace myself as I go into a rant for this one. Matrix 4 or Matrix Resurrection. Okay, the reason why Matrix Resurrection is number 4 is because I understood what the movie was getting at. I understand what Lana Wachowski was going for with this movie. I think, and I could be wrong, it's fine, but I get what she was trying to say, and I think the movie succeeds when it focuses on the things I personally care about, which is what is the life after the events of the third movie of Matrix. When it doesn't do that, when it focuses on this meta narrative about how like Warner Brothers forced her to make a movie that she didn't want to do, and it's her sitting in meetings kind of being bored out of her mind and hearing people talk about what defines the Matrix, when it's her basically being very cynical and basically stating that I didn't want to do this movie. I only did this because if I didn't do it, somebody else was going to do it. So I'm going to make a movie that's going to commentate on how stupid the industry is for always trying to remake and cash in on nostalgia. And I'm also going to say the fans are fucking idiots for wanting more out of this universe. And for me, I feel like this movie, and why it's number 2 on my list, is because I feel like this movie is an insult to the fans of the Matrix trilogy. This movie goes out of its way to genuinely insult the fans, and I just fundamentally disagree. And maybe I'm wrong on this point of view. You can argue with me on the comment section below, but I genuinely did not like that. There are millions, billions of filmmakers out there, 100,000, all that shit of filmmakers out there that would love to have their names on a Matrix movie and add their own spin, their own unique voice to the Matrix, just like the Animatrix has done. And instead of doing that, Lauren Wachowski came in and was like, no, I'm just gonna make a movie where I'm just saying fuck Warner Brothers and fuck the fans for wanting more of this universe. And for me, I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. I didn't feel that, because I've recently watched a movie that had fan service and it still told a successful story about a kid learning the consequences of every action, that no good deed goes unpunished. And it's called Spider-Man No Way Home. So don't tell me that you couldn't make a movie that continues the story of what happened after. And I think I would have let this movie slide if the movie had some good action scenes, if the movie had some stellar action scenes or whatever. But the movie doesn't even want to do that. Again, it's so focused on its messaging that it forgets to even just have fun in this world and come back and actually explore this world. At every moment, this movie feels like it's just a fucking cynical person saying, I didn't want to do this, so here you go. I'm gonna throw in these fucking robots that look like something that just came out of Avatar or something that just came out of a studio mandate, because fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and not generally wanting to do it. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Again, I would love to have a conversation about this movie. But ultimately, this movie was not for me. And I genuinely do not understand how anybody... I can understand if you like it, because it is deep. And I'll give her that. I'll give this movie, it's deep. It has some things to say. But the cynicalness of saying that there's no reason to come back to this franchise or whatever, fine, whatever. I'm not into going back into a franchise either, but if you're gonna do it, you love it that much, at least have something interesting to say other than I didn't want to fucking do it. That's just my perspective of the movie. The rest of the movie is just mid and lame. And that's even worse, because this is a fucking Matrix. Even the weakest movies, which are the sequels, and I personally like the sequels, by the way, especially Revolutions, at least had something to say. least was fun. And even if you didn't care about his philosophy shit, it still has some great set pieces that I will always cherish. So get this dumb shit out of here. And my number one worst movie of the year goes to, I'm not even gonna give you a fucking drum roll. Black Widow, alright? Black Widow is the worst fucking movie of the year, alright? Fuck Black Widow, alright? You know, this movie, and why I don't like this movie. This movie is every fucking thing I hate about Marvel Studios, and it's every fucking thing these directors be saying about Marvel. There's a reason why Martin Scorsese and other directors and other filmmakers look down upon Marvel movies, because they make cookie cutter shit like this generic fucking movies that have no real stakes, no heart to them, no emotion, just bland. Everything is just safe. Everything is just bland and safe. Black Widow and the shit she goes through is safe. The talk about like human trafficking, safe. Doesn't even bother diving super into it. Safe. Getting to mourn the death of fucking Black Widow and acknowledging her as a value member to the Avengers, whatever, son. No one cares. This movie plays her completely safe. This movie is bland as fuck. And the only thing that makes this movie bearable for me is Florence Pugh as Black Widow. As Elena, I should say. She's the only good thing about this movie. She's the only thing that holds this movie together. Because ScarJo ain't doing it. ScarJo's just sitting back like, yo, I'm just here to collect the paycheck. That's it. The guy who plays Harper in Stranger Things, that dude chilling, and what they did with him was fucking ridiculous and boring. He's nothing. Shit, they don't even get into the cool spy shit that Black Widow does in the comic books. Like, this is, of course, has to be big stakes, and it's like over the top, and it's boring. Nothing interesting is going on in this movie. Taskmaster is a fucking joke. They completely fucked up Taskmaster. I don't know how you fuck up Taskmaster. I don't know, man. He's the easiest character to get. All he needs to do is just whatever. Oh my god, this movie is just bland as fuck. Action scenes are bland. Characters are bland. Bland. There's nothing that makes it stand out. There's nothing that makes it has something unique to say or interesting to say. I think I would have preferred it if they had just not even make a Black Widow movie. Because clearly they made this movie only to appeal to the people like me who desperately wanted a Black Widow movie, who were begging and pleading for years. But it's too late. We're in phase fucking 4. The character is dead, and I felt nothing. This movie should have been the movie that made me be like, oh man, recontextualize everything and be like, oh man, I miss Natasha, Black Widow. But I still don't miss the bitch. I still don't miss her. I still don't miss Natasha. And that's because the writing failed to show off Natasha in an interesting light. You know who's more interesting? Elena. And Assad. This felt like the audition for Florence Pugh. Not only that she has the Russian accent, but also she just is cool. She's able to keep that Marvel synergy of being jokey, but also being serious, like a Black Widow would be. But this movie is a joke. And at least with Eternals, say what you want about Eternals, but at least with Eternals, at At least Eternals were trying something. At least it had some cinematography that was interesting. At least it had interesting lore. What the fuck is Black Widow saying that we haven't heard already from the MCU? I don't know. Like, this was a waste of time, and this was the worst start off to start the MCU. I mean, start Phase 4. This was the worst movie to start the Phase 4 off. To me, Phase 4 didn't start until fucking Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. Those are the only movies that started Phase 4.
You love her that much?
That's it. That's it. This was a joke. I can't talk about this shit. Anywho, I'm done. Black Widow's the worst movie of the year. If you want to debate that in the comment section, feel free to go ahead. If you got a worse movie list, or you just have one movie that just grinds your gear that came out last year, post it in the comment section below. I'm heading out. All that fun shit. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do what you gotta do. I'm out. Peace. I'm fucking tired. This shit gave me a fucking headache.